The Bureau of Land Management presents live from the BLM National Training Center in Phoenix, Arizona, the latest Planning NEPA Forum on contract management. And now, the host of your program, Cathy Humphrey.
Good morning in the West Coast and good afternoon in the East Coast. We know that you have a lot on your mind right now, but for the next 90 minutes, we hope that you can set aside your concerns and join us for our latest Planning NEPA Forum. This is the second in a series of 3 broadcasts on how to improve contracting for BLM planning and NEPA documents. And while we're focused on contracting all our parts of resource management plans, NEPA documents, or aspects of the planning and or NEPA process like scoping meetings or setting up the administrative record, the principles that we'll discuss today can be applied to other contracts to accomplish your program work. For example, habitat assessments, species surveys, or GIS and modeling contracts. Most of the principles that we'll talk about can also be applied to assistance agreements. So we'll cover both direct and third-party contracting and contracts for EA and EIS level analysis. And I want to thank everyone who sent in comments by Metrics That Matter for the first contracting broadcast. We made some changes based on your input. And one of the comments that we got said that the closed captioning covered up the text on the lower third of the screen. For example, we put phone numbers and that kind of thing on there. The only solutions that I can offer for today's show is you could either turn off the closed captioning if it's not needed by someone in the room. The second option would be that you could ask us what's covered up when you by text, email, or fax, or if you want, you can wait until it's posted to the internet to see what's on the bottom third there. Not the best option, but those are the 3 options I can think of for you. And then we got a comment from 1 or 2 of you who said that a lot of what we talked about last time was already taught in classes for contracting officer representatives or CORs. But you have to realize that this is new information for others, so even if you've been a COR for a very long time and been to a lot of training, you might actually pick up something new today. So in broadcast 1, we talked about contract initiation, where we went over the inception of a project until the contractor is selected. The topic of today's broadcast is contract management. And we'll talk about how to manage the communication, the mechanics, and the scope, or the statement of work of a contract. Broadcast 3 in the series will focus on contract closeout, and that'll include contract modifications, administrative procedures, and what the contractor's role is in responding to litigation. Now, this third broadcast was scheduled for March 28th, but it might be postponed due to the travel and other restrictions that we're all undergoing. But we'll email every one of you who's registered for this broadcast. We'll let you know any updates as we know them. Now today, like last month, we want to emphasize how to improve the process and the products. We don't really want to dwell on what's not working. We want to make it a positive experience. So although that we've done the best we could to incorporate your questions and your feedback from the Metrics That Matter, I'm sure that additional questions will pop up. So as you think of them, be sure to just jot them down, and then that way you'll be ready to jump right in when we open it up for you to interact with the panel. You can call us, fax us, email us, or text us. So get ready to write down our contact numbers because they are coming up on your screen now. And just one more thing, if you contact us, especially by text, include your name and location. That'll help us. So as you can see, the phone number is 1-877-862-5346. Fax is 602-906-5701. And the email or text address is blm_tc_telecast@blm.gov. And if you are not able to mute the sound of the broadcast in the room when you call us, then it's probably better if you email, text, or fax your questions. So now I'm going to introduce the panel, and then I will summarize what we talked about on the contract initiation broadcast. Molly will talk about managing communication. Chris and Cindy will talk about managing the mechanics. That'll be followed by a discussion about managing the scope or the statement of work. And after that, it'll be time for you to interact with the panel. It'll be in about an hour. And then finally, we'll end up with some helpful tips. So be sure to stick around for the entire 90 minutes. You don't want to miss that. All right, so here is our panel. If you saw the first broadcast, it will be like I'm introducing you to some old friends because we are lucky enough to have the same panel. And I'd like to start with our northernmost guest. Molly Cobbs is the Planning and Environmental Coordinator for the Anchorage District Office in Alaska. She's been with the BLM since 2010. Before that, she was a NEPA contractor for 7 years, and much of that she worked on BLM projects. Over the years, she has been the NEPA lead for 6 BLM environmental impact statements. Hi, Molly.
Hi, Kathy. It's great to be back.
And next, moving further south to the Wyoming State Office in Cheyenne is Chris Carlton. He is currently a Planning and NEPA program lead and a contracting officer's representative, a core for 5 RMP contracts. He started with the BLM in 2008, and he too started his career as a NEPA contractor. He has more than 15 years of experience with the federal contracting process. Hey, Chris, good to see you.
Thanks, Kathy. It's great to be back.
And working our way south from the National Operations Center in Denver, Colorado, Cindy Kleinholz. She's a contracting officer who deals mostly with environmental contracts. And Cindy has worked for the BLM since 2010. Before that, she's been involved with federal contracting for several years. Hi, Cindy. Nice to see you again.
Kathy, it's wonderful to be here.
And that is our panel. Next, I'm going to recap what we talked about on Broadcast 1. If you weren't able to watch it, or if you forgot what you saw because you know it was a month ago, we started by reviewing terminology and definitions, including what is a contract. A contract is a legally enforceable agreement between 2 or more parties. A contractor is the person, group, or entity that's hired to perform the work. Externally generated actions, which you probably all know, are initiated from a non-BLM person or group. For example, a proponent or applicant who requests an authorization or a permit from the BLM. A third-party contract, that's when a proponent hires a firm to do the NEPA analysis for a proposed project. Typically, this is done when the proponent wants the NEPA to be completed faster. However, even though the proponent hires the contractor, we, the BLM, are still responsible for reviewing, analyzing, and approving the NEPA analysis. One of the things that Molly will be talking about today is how to manage the communication to minimize or eliminate bias in NEPA documents that are prepared through these third-party contracts. Internally generated actions are those created by us, the BLM, and some of these examples are a proposal to restore a riparian area or one to build a wildlife guzzler. Direct contracts, those are when the BLM hires a firm or company to perform a service, for example, to complete a NEPA analysis and documentation for a proposed resource management plan or other project. Next, we talked about what, why, and when the BLM would pursue a contract. And basically, what it boils down to is contractors are typically used to supplement the lead agency's expertise, resources, or time that it takes to conduct a technical analysis or complete the steps necessary to comply with NEPA in a timely manner. After the terminology, Cindy went over some key pieces of the Federal Acquisition Regulations, or the FAR, which I'm sure we all know are the federal rules and regulations as to how the government will acquire goods and services from sellers. Cindy described what an acquisition package typically includes, and she also talked about the time frames required to put one together. Then she talked about some of the methods to solicit contracts. The next topic that we tackled on Broadcast 1 was how to write better statements of work. Molly talked about the importance of describing both the sideboards and the specific work that needs to be done by the contractor. And for complex projects, she had a recommendation to break down the work into phase, task, and subtask, which may be obvious to some people, but still we thought it was a great way to organize your thoughts when you're writing a statement of work. Now, a couple of tips that I remember from Broadcast 1 are to think like a contractor and don't be afraid to iterate when you're writing your statement of work with your resource specialists, because as you know, complex projects often take several passes to get all the pieces right. And Molly provided some questions or prompts to consider when finalizing the statement of work. If you take a look at those prompts, I think they'll really help you be more thorough when you're writing your own statement of work. Now, of course, it's always a good idea to reach out to other offices and see if they have something that you can start with. But I think that her prompts will help you stay focused on your project, because, you know, sometimes when you rely too heavily on someone else's work, you may forget something that pertains to your project but not theirs. Then the next thing we did is we moved on to evaluating the proposals after you received them. And Cindy talked about the 4 primary evaluation criteria that they typically use. And those are the technical approach, organization and personal experience or expertise, past performance, and then for direct contracts, fee. Cindy and Molly talked about the makeup of the evaluation team and the process. And Molly provided some specific tips when evaluating each criterion. And then Cindy gave us the contracting officer's perspective, which I don't think we typically consider. The next topic we talked about was MOUs, or Memoranda of Understanding. Chris described the purpose and the value of a well-written MOU, and he talked about the similarities between MOUs and contracts. MOUs are being used a lot more often and more effectively when entering into third-party contracting situations, especially in certain locations, certain states. MOUs are also used a lot to clarify the roles and responsibilities of cooperating agencies when they're involved with us in a project. Chris listed the critical components of an MOU, and these are a project description and statutory requirements, the description of the partners, the purpose and authority for the MOU, and my favorite section, the roles and responsibilities of all parties. That's basically the meat and potatoes of the MOU. Also, another critical component is how to resolve conflicts, and then there's a section on it designating the representatives of each cooperating agency. We got a few comments in the Metrics That Matter that some of you wanted more information on MOUs, and then others of you were annoyed that we didn't post the PowerPoints prior to the broadcast. So in response, we sent you an email this morning with the PowerPoints for today, which there aren't as many as there were last time. And we uploaded a couple of example MOUs for you to look at, as well as other references and examples. We've got the PowerPoints for both Broadcast 1 and Broadcast 2 on our KRC or Knowledge Resource Center.